Well, hello, beautiful people, and welcome to the show. Where I'm at, there's going to be a fantastic project that's going to come up and spring up here in Westlands. Ladies and gentlemen, luxury at an affordable reach. Verona apartments are going to be coming up over here. Where I'm standing is the courtyard in between three very beautiful blocks overlooking this golf-like field, and it's going to be scrumptious, just absolutely divine. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Property Focus. My name is Peter Ngigi. How are you doing?
I'm good, Peter.
Pleasure to meet you.
Very nice to meet you.
Brilliant. I know you, but tell the viewers a little bit more about yourself.
Firstly, thank you for inviting me, Peter.
Welcome.
It's a pleasure. I've never done this before.
Yes.
My name is Jatinder, Jatinder Singh Teti. My friends call me JT. Everyone around knows me as JT. You know me as JT. I'm the founder and owner of Innovative Planning and Design Consultants. We are architects. Myself, I've been in this space for approximately 25 years. My journey started in England, UK. So I studied out there in University of Nottingham. I then worked for a big company out there called Benoit Architects. They're a huge outfit, mostly specializing in commercial, retail. So the experience out of there was quite something. And then you know how it is. Home is home.
True.
So decided to get back home and start all over back in Kenya.
Okay.
So I then worked for one of the big boys out here. And funny story, I got my first break in 2009. And that's when I started Innovative Planning and Design Consultants. In short, IPDC. And like I said, funny story, that was in Gypsies at 2 a.m.
Okay. Wonderful.
So that's where I got my first client. And again, they're with us. We do a lot of projects for them.
Okay, which is the reason why we're here. We're here for Verona. Yes. What was your response to the client's brief?
Let me start by saying that every client, every site is different. The client for Verona is a happy client.
Okay.
They listen to me at least.
Okay, super.
Or they listened to me.
Okay.
But before we formulated the brief, what we asked the client to do is conduct a feasibility study.
Okay.
Like I said, every site is different. So feasibility study, I mean, where is this plot? What's the location of it? What's the size of the plot? What is the market demand for that site? Taking those parameters into account, we then sat down and formulated a brief with the client. In this instance, the client wanted to create a very high-end, although a bit dense, but very high-end product, which was affordable to everyone.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's where we started from. So then the next step before we get into the design side of things, we also asked the client to let us do a site analysis for them. So after the feasibility, we went into site analysis. Now site analysis, I mean, you've got to see the size of the plot,
yes, the
lay of the land, you've got to see the prevailing winds, you've got to see the directions, east, west, where the sun sets, where the sun rises. And more importantly, you gotta look at the views.
Yes.
Views out and also views in. You know, the building has to be legible. The building has to be seen, to be appreciated. It's like walking into a bar and seeing a nice lady, you know. That's the first thing it gets you.
Okay, interesting. Brilliant.
And so out of that site analysis is then we move forward onto the design stage.
The design ethos for Verona. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Interesting one, Peter.
Yes.
Like I said, every site has its own challenges and the requirements of the client need to be met. Every client is different in what they want. So, like I said, we do the site analysis first. And what was interesting about Verona's site was it had stunning views. The site sits off Mutangari Road, and it overlooks the greenery of St. Mary's. And then all the way out towards the horizon is Kileleshwa and Kilimani.
So it's all trees.
It's all trees. You know, you'll be surprised when you really start looking at Nairobi with a keen eye, how green our city is.
Wonderful.
And the amount of trees out there. I say Kileleshwa, Kilimani, first thing you think is a concrete jungle.
Exactly.
Yeah, but you got to see, I mean, the brochures and the three-dimensional images that we have created. And what we've done is also married that to exactly where the project sits.
Okay. You know, speaking of Kilimani, tell us about the orientation of the site.
So, okay, we've got, it's a 1 acre piece of land. And what we have is, it's a broader site. So it lent to, what I had to do when we first started designing is come up with the planning concept. Now, the planning concept, and it doesn't just appear straight away.
Okay.
It goes, you go through design iterations. So what actually unlocked the key for this design was the views inward and the views outward over St. Mary's and into Kileleshwa greenery. So I designed something that has got a central courtyard, and we designed the 3 blocks that sit around this courtyard.
Interesting.
Now, also one of the client brief was to make sure that we maximize on the views, while also maintaining the commercial aspect of this site.
Okay.
You know, every client needs to get the best potential out of the site.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So as much as you're densifying,
Yes.
you also need to make sure that you are thinking of the buyers.
True.
Yeah. And when I design an apartment, we always walk around it like I'm about to buy it.
Yes.
I will buy here as well.
Well, we'll follow the project. We'll follow the project and get to have a look at that.
That was the key that unlocked it.
Okay.
After that was pretty much designing the apartments around these 3 blocks or in these 3 blocks. So what happens is we get the best area, the square footage, the best mix, and the best feasibility in terms of what buyer is coming here.
Super.
Yeah. One of our briefs was to make sure that we provide for each and every buyer.
Yes.
We want a plethora of guys coming here, from professional to young families to investors.
Yes.
Yeah. Even down to people who have sold their pieces of land and need somewhere to stay with space.
Yes.
So we've got a mixture of studios, 1 beds, 2 beds, the 3 beds, and 2 levels of penthouses, which are huge.
Super.
After that is when you begin to start creating what we call the grid, the structural grid. That has to then marry down into your parking. Most people think that design just originates like that. It's not the case. There is a process that you've got to go through.
Yes.
So marrying that grid down into my car park decks, making sure that my car park to apartment ratio is correct.
Okay.
And then now I have a base to start with. From there, amenities was very key for this project.
Okay.
So again, we sat down with the clients. We went through what amenities this space requires or this location requires, trying to create a self-sustaining community.
Okay.
And then you start putting the pieces of the puzzle together. Now, I'm a firm believer of form follows function.
Amazing.
I've just explained to you the function of this building.
Okay.
From the function, now comes the form. And like one of my clients termed it, we're going to dress up the bride. Dressing up the bride is an interesting one because I can make this building look like it's from New York. I can make it look like it's from Shanghai.
Okay.
I can make it look like it's just landed in from India, which I did with one of my buildings on Second Parklands.
Okay.
Well, that's a story for another day. Or I can make it look like it's a South African building, you know. So in this case, what happens is we first take our function. We make sure our numbers are working, we make sure everything, our balconies are in the right places, our views are in the right zones. We make sure that, the courtyards are working, my entrance exits are working. And then from there is when we start dressing up this bride.
Okay.
So Verona was an interesting one because we're going quite high. The verticality and the scale of this project has got its own wow factor. But hey, you know what? When I just block up a commercial building, it looks like a big, giant, straight wall.
Yes.
That's when we started getting into the form.
Yes.
And what makes this building interesting, we found. And again, that's after quite a lot of design reiterations with the client. By the way, they made me work they challenged my mind.
Okay.
And that's why I love this client. What actually, again, unlocked the facades of this building were the interesting play on the balconies.
Tell us about that.
Usually you expect those straight balconies and that's it, you're done with it.
Yes.
What we did is we accentuated, we took the verticality of this building.
Yes.
And what I wanted to do, and what the client also wanted to do, is kind of create some horizontality within that.
Okay.
Yet keeping a drama that just pulls you into that thing. So we started with the front facade, and we took the balconies, we played with the forms, and these forms started giving it a very three-dynamic kind of look.
Okay.
When you see on the computer generated models, when you see the shadows dropping on the facade, it creates that wow factor that I don't think has been done before here. Yeah.
It should be a one-of-one actually in the area, the whole strip.
Yes, yes, correct. And we're hoping it will be. When you look at what we produced, or when the marketing material comes out,
yes,
and we go out to the market with this product, I'm hoping to get those reviews.
Amazing.
I'm waiting to see what happens.
Super. Speaking of the facade, what materials are you going to use that?
So a few things here. I didn't explain to you my tree of life.
Please go ahead.
You know, I explained to you my balconies. So the balconies create that horizontality, yet not breaking the verticality, because the verticality is also the wow factor here.
Okay.
So I've got this central core, and the idea was, what are we going to do with it? It's a lift and stair core. How do you make a lift and stair core interesting? It's just a brick wall going up 17 stories.
17 stories.
So we came up with the idea of the tree of life.
Okay.
Yeah, we took Sky High, who are our clients, and we said Sky High is going to create something that is going to grow and grow and grow. So we took this concept of a tree of life, and we've used cut metal screens to create that really nice pattern. So you can see the tree growing up all the way.
Interesting.
And then every scheme of mine, and that's my trademark, let's put it that way, always has a hat or a hairstyle.
Okay.
I told you about the pretty lady.
Yes.
The hair's got to be good.
Now you've got a dresser.
So I got a dresser. So we created this tree of life that creeps up all the way, and right at the top it ends up on Sky High, Verona.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the tree of life grows up. That theme then we followed in through the whole development, including the entrance exits. Again, you've got to create that little inviting, modern, yet a bit homely feeling. You've got to feel like you're coming home. So material-wise, we've got that tree of life, which is cut metal aluminium screens. Then we've got a lot of timber. We've used a lot of timber, and you'll see that coming out in the interiors. We've used a lot of natural stone, and a lot of glass. The glass gives it the modern look that we're after. And also, you know, one of the client briefs is I want light and air.
Yes.
Yeah, you can be walking through a corridor,
yes,
which is blocked up on both sides by apartments, and it's like walking through a hotel room corridor, but this is an apartment. So light and air was very key. Also to capitalize on the views. So yeah, in terms of materials, that was it.
Brilliant. More on this after the commercial break. Brilliant. Welcome back from the commercial break. We've got architect JT telling us about Verona, which is the latest project here in Westlands. Now, welcome back to the show, sir.
Thank you, Peter.
Amenities. Many questions are coming in right now. They want to know, what will it have?
Amenities is a key one, and we find that most of the apartments or the big high-rise buildings, even down to the office spaces that we design, looking or are selling amenities as one of the key factors. Verona was interesting.
Okay.
Now, my client is also a good friend of mine.
Okay.
His name is Rohit Pandit. Now, when we started talking about amenities, I told you, first we come up with a whole planning concept.
Yes.
Then everything starts fitting in. The idea came out that, hey, you know what, guys, we've got stunning views.
Okay.
These are like golf course kind of views. And I've never seen an apartment building where it's situated having such amazing views. So we said, why don't we use the rooftop?
Interesting,
Yeah. So we put I said, okay, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
I said, the pool as well? He said, the pool as well.
Okay.
I told him it's going to cost you. He didn't bat an eye.
Okay.
And so we designed the amenities all on the rooftop. I think it's unique in its setting.
Interesting.
We've got an infinity pool.
Okay.
That's right on the edge of the front block that overlooks.
So this is
St.
a center
Mary's.
block that overlooks.
Overlooks that greenery of Nairobi. Amazing, and it's right on the edge. So out of that was the first thing we plugged in, and then out of that we started designing everything else.
Okay.
We've got the gym and the social hall that are on the edge of both the other blocks, again facing the view. And what we did is we gave them full glass facades. So you can, while you're running, you're jogging, you can see I'm a gym guy.
Yes.
You know.
You're in good shape. You're in good shape. Yeah.
And it kind of motivates you. Around that, we've got a fully fledged yoga center, a fully fledged spa that is connected to the pool side of things. We've got a lot of big relaxation decks. We've got a fully fledged games room.
This is for adults or the children?
It's for both. And the adult one's quite interesting because we're going to put a poker table down there. Wow. And my favorite best is the Karoga spot. Brilliant. And the barbecue area that we created right on the rooftop. I don't think anyone's done that before. But
True. It's a one of one.
But it's there. It's there. So the amenities are plenty. And if you look at the location in and around, you got quite a lot going on in itself. It's walking distance from one of the grade A buildings that we actually designed. That's the address, which has serviced offices. Okay. You've got hairdressers and another spa right in the address as well. And then you can get to the various golf clubs all around. You've got access to the highways. You've got access to the super highway that's so quick. Access to the southern bypass. That's amazing. So all in all, amenities in and around are many.
I love it. What would you advise other developers who are watching?
Yeah, my advice would be, please choose the right consultants. Do your homework well.
Okay.
Every site is different. Don't think about putting a 5-star hotel in Kibera, for instance. You know? So do your homework well. Choose the right consultants and pay them well.
Brilliant.
And lastly, is you're only as good as the contractor who's building your building.
Yes.
And I've had this, Peter, so many times. In fact, thanks for giving me the chance, because I can tell everyone that, hey, do not, for 10 million shillings, go for a contractor that you never heard of before. Please use the good guys. Please do your homework well.
So cut costs, not corners.
Yes.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Peter.
Super.
It's been a pleasure.
Super. That was a brilliant conversation with the architect, JT. Now, I really appreciate the views that they have that are going to be unobstructed, because you've got St. Mary's that's going to be over there with a golf-like view. And I really appreciate the exceptional, extraordinary vision that they're just taking with the facade and everything in it. Now, we'll be following up and keeping up with the progress of this particular project. This has been Property Focus. Till next week, same place, next time. Goodbye.